and thanks so much for joining us today for Black America. I'm Carol Jenkins, and today we have the special pleasure of talking about a rare find, a simply lovely children's book, Little Man, written by the great James Baldwin in 1976. It was rediscovered by co-editor Nicholas Boggs, now a professor at NYU. It was written for Baldwin's nephew, Tejan Karefa-Smart, and I would say also for his niece, Aisha Karefa-Smart. And thank you all so much for being here today. It's a pleasure. I'm such a fan. Love your uncle so much. He meant so much, you know, to my life and to my children's life. Everything. You know, he just, as you know, a man of great wisdom and actually, you know, just loved it. And this guy is a member of my family. I think he's the godfather to my grandchildren. Elizabeth, my daughter, and Nick were best buddies in college, and I actually saw this book. Nick, how long ago was that?
You know, the timeline is tough. It's about 15 years ago on my father's front porch in Washington, D.C.
That's right, when Nicholas came to me and he said, you know, I have found this great book, and it hasn't been published, and I'm going to get it published. And it took him 15 years, but you did it. You did it. What was it? Tell us about the discovery of that.
Sure. Well, first of all, it's such an honor to be here with you and with Aisha and Tejan. Thank you so much for having me. In a short version of the story is I found it when I was an undergraduate at Yale in the Beinecke's Rare Book and Manuscript Library, and I immediately knew that it was something special, and I decided to write a senior thesis about it, and I was told that Joran Kazak, the illustrator, was most likely deceased. But I went ahead and sent a bunch of emails to art historians in Paris. This was around 2003, hoping that they could give me some information about him, because there was virtually none. And the next thing I know, a few weeks later, I'm sitting in my Brooklyn apartment, my studio apartment. The phone rings, and it's this raspy Frenchman, 63 years old, saying, "I hear you're looking for me. I'm Joran Kazak. Come see me in Paris."
Incredible, incredible. And you and Elizabeth went all over to Italy as well together, looking
for the original illustrations.
For the original illustration. So it's a family. It's all family here now. Tejan and Aisha, this is an incredible. When you found out, and you knew about the book, of course, because it was written for you, and you had copies, I'm sure.
Yes, we did. We both have our original copies.
You have your original. Hold on to them tightly.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about the initiation of this book. You were then known as TJ.
TJ and Blinky were our characters in the book, inspired by me and Aisha. And the whole story begins in the preface of one of those jam sessions that we used to have, at 137. And Uncle Jimmy would come and the place would just get to jumping. And we, the children, were around, and we were able to take in all of this energy. And we were never, you know, told to go in the next room or downstairs. And Uncle Jimmy would come, and we realized that every time he came, it would just get live.
Because he was bringing a few friends with him.
A few. Traveled with an entourage, never less than about 10.
Who was in that entourage that would show up in your house?
Who's who? I mean, who?
Mary Baraka, Tony Cade Bambara, Toni Morrison, Maya Angelou, Miles Davis, who lived in the neighborhood, Luther Vandross, who lived in the neighborhood. We grew up on the Upper West Side, so it was a mixture of artists, musicians. You know, it was developing at the time, but a lot of very interesting people lived in the area. Rosa Guy, Louise Merriweather, right. Yes, you know, just everybody who was writing and doing some sort of art at that time, you know, were guests in our home.
And you said to your uncle one day.
I said to him one day, you know, he was in one of the places where no one was allowed except us. It was my grandmother's bedroom. And he was coming out, and I grabbed his arm and said, "Uncle Jimmy, when you gonna write a book about me?" And as Aisha describes in her afterword, I said, you know, he said, you know, I will, it's coming. Or what he responded,
I'm working on it.
I'm working on it, little man. And then the next thing you know, it was the time that we now know was about 4 months, in his words, but you know, it was instant to us. It was like Uncle Jimmy write a book
was
about
magical.
It
was
this
magical.
showed up
It
in a
took-
box.
I should tell the story you tell about the box arriving.
Yeah, I'll read it to you.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
When the box of books arrived from the original publisher, Dial Press, and we saw a little boy who looked just like TJ whimsically strut up and down the street, as if it was his very own Neverland, our eyes widened in awe. Uncle Jimmy really did write a book about TJ. Yay for TJ, we exclaimed. My brother asked, and it was given. The type of love that was demonstrated by that one act let us, all the children in the family, know that we were very important to our uncle. We mattered. Our lives, our stories, what we did day in and day out as children was now chronicled in a children's book that other children, perhaps children all over the world, would read. My little brother was beloved throughout our extremely multi-ethnic neighborhood, had his very own book, which my uncle lovingly captured his nephew's spirit. But deep down, we knew that he wrote it for all of us.
And indeed, and for all of us, including
All of us, exactly.
the rest of the
Absolutely.
world. The rest of the world. So the effort to get it published was, and I went through a few of these versions with you. What do you interpret as the roadblock to? Because it took you 15 years from saying, "Hey, this is a great idea. It's a great book."
That's a great question. I think when the book was published in 1976, Baldwin was considered by some incorrectly to be passé, in the words of the New York Times. But as we're learning right now, with this book, the film If Beale Street Could Talk, all kinds of resurgence of interest in Baldwin's work. In fact, the 70s were a really important period of his creative output. So the roadblocks, as I said before, were somewhat to do with the genre bending. This was a children's book for adults and an adult book for children.
It is very sophisticated.
Yeah, with
I'll say.
mature themes. But most importantly, I believe it was the language employed. The Black English of the child was something that Baldwin wrote about in his essay, If Black English Isn't a Language, Then Tell Me What Is. And it was very important to him, I'm sure Aisha and Tejan can say more about this, it was very important to him to celebrate the self-esteem of black children and their language. He wrote, it wasn't the black child's language that was despised, it was their experience. But the language was the conduit to the experience.
Absolutely.
And you feel the same way, too, about the language that's employed?
Yes, it was our language. It's the language that we spoke, you know, at school and at home. And you know, we spoke freely. You know, we didn't make any distinction between what's called the King's, the Queen's English, and the English we read in books and what we spoke at home. We just looked at it like we were shifting gears.
Yeah, we were code switching. I mean, our mother made sure, as you can tell, that we spoke
were
properly,
multilingual.
that we were multilingual, that we spoke a certain way when appropriate, but we were allowed to employ the influences. Our father is West African. There's a patois, a lingua franca that's spoken in his country, Sierra Leone and Freetown, that's English-based, but has Creole, but has other words. So we were constantly switching languages, and then French. Our father is a Francophone, speaks French. Our uncle spoke French. So we grew up with language, and Black English was one of those languages. So we saw the adults around us code switching all the time. So we knew, you know, when to go into those different, and as children, of course, we want to speak the language that's hip, that's evolving, that's fun, and that's current, because you know with Black English, it evolves. So words that we say now weren't words that you said back in the 70s.
Right, right. Well, I was at the Schomburg when you had you both read wonderfully from, you know, from the book. So moving. Tejan, Miss Beanpole is a favorite story, part of this story. Can you read a little bit of that for us?
This is Miss Beanpole, one of TJ's neighbors. Miss Beanpole lived in the house next to TJ's house. She sits in the window most days, but she is tall when she stands up. She is tall when she calls TJ or WT or Blinky to go to the store for her. Then you have to go inside her house. She has a lot of locks on her door, When she opens it, she has to move a long iron stick in the floor. This long iron stick leans against the door when the door is locked. When she opens the door, the stick moves back like the door, and then you are inside. TJ always afraid Miss Beanpole will pull the stick up out the floor and start beating him over the head with it. She looked like she want to beat somebody.
And Miss Beanpole, from the very first time I saw this on Nick's dad's front porch, love the artwork of Miss Beanpole. And this artist, you know, now there are several versions of it. You said he did everything in crayon first and then watercolor, but talk a little bit about that.
Sure, that's right. Your daughter Elizabeth and I, back in 2004, flew to Florence and then rental car and went to Tuscany, where the original illustrations were housed with Beatrice Kazak, Joran's wife. And there's a whole version of them, the whole book in crayon. Joran did it that way at first, and then they decided that it needed to be sort of pencil and watercolor to what he said was imagine the unimaginable. Joran had never been to the United States, much less Harlem. So Baldwin shared with him images of his family. He shared with him the Black Book, edited by Toni Morrison. He shared with him, he would read from him, from his essays about Harlem. And so Joran was tasked with kind of imagining what I would think of as an abstract realism of Black childhood. And he was introduced through Buford Delaney, who shared sort of the similar interests that you can see in terms of interplay of light and color.
Right, the Magnificent. We're looking now
Blinky.
at Blinky.
Yeah, I love that.
That's
I just love
Aisha.
that.
right, because the story is about TJ, of course, but
Right.
very much a presence is his older sister,
Yes.
Aisha, and making sure he stays out of trouble.
That was
Right,
my
but
job.
this
And
is
still today.
And
Yeah.
still today, yeah, I noticed around the studio. You know, where is he?
Kitchen.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
indeed.
so there was the language, the Black English. There was the abstractness of the art, that are two things that may have interfered with the publication. I mean, but now we know that this is just you know, a wonderful book for parents to read to their children,
Yeah.
and for older children who can read to get a sense of, you know, of what life is like.
And also some of the mature themes. You know, there's a police chase, you know, where
right.
the police are chasing a man, you know,
Right,
down
right.
the block.
My grandson Sam was particularly interested in that.
Right,
Your
exactly.
gotcha.
And so they felt it wasn't the typical, you know, kind of, you know, innocent child's book about, you know, wandering and exploring. Of course, those themes are in the book, but also some stuff that I think every urban child is exposed to. If you ride the subway as a child, if you're on the buses, if you're walking down the street, if you're walking along Central Park like we did, you see some things. It's the city and it's city life. And so he didn't shy away from dealing with some of those themes.
Right. Well, we have a clip of your uncle actually, and you're both in it, by the way. This goes pretty fast, so take a look. It's Aisha to the right of James Baldwin, and a shot of TJ, a quick one, of him talking about what he would hope that our Black children would not have to go through, the kinds of things that he went through, that we went through in the old days, as they called them. Let's take a listen.
It's a price this republic exacts. Any Black man or woman walking, and that is a crime. I paid for that crime in my life, and I don't believe my countrymen anymore. They will not do to him what they failed to do to me.
What do you think that is so powerful, so powerful. What do you think your uncle would have to say about our condition today?
I think it would be a duality of which his work, you know, being that it was based really on love and on bringing love into the world, would be, as in his own words, not pessimistic, but also telling of the truth, you know, of what we see today. But he would be, I think, invigorated by what's happening with young people. He was always interested in, you know, what we thought
Absolutely.
and what was in our hearts,
Right.
and hence the book.
Right.
And I think that he would still be telling the truth and encouraging us. He would have passed the torch by now.
Right, right. Oh, boy, do
Yeah,
I wish you were
yeah,
still here.
yeah,
You know, I
yeah.
just love, that's
Yeah.
the conversation I'd love to have today,
Yeah,
following
absolutely.
our conversation.
Absolutely.
Aisha, your thoughts
I
on
mean, one of the things that I write about is how he gave us, through his work, permission to live in fullness and total acceptance of our who we are as black people, to love ourselves, to love our skin color, to love our hair, it's all the language in Little Man, and the description of the colors of the people is also positive. So that was passed down to us. And so in a way, you know, he said, I never had a childhood. I was born dead. That was a direct quote from him. But as you see, TJ had a childhood that was whimsical and fun, and he got to explore and play and have a certain level of innocence, but then he still had to deal with the realities of being a black boy growing up in an urban environment. So I think we've come a long way, and we've enjoyed a life that he wasn't able to enjoy as a child, but we still have a lot of work to do. And
True
we
that.
still have some stuff
Yeah.
that's going on.
As a James Baldwin scholar, what's your reaction when you hear that quote, I was born dead? Because it really was the genesis of so much of his work.
That was a quote that he said was actually an interview in French in St. Paul de Vence while he was working on this book. And I think, you know, one of the fascinating things about this book, among so much, is that it's set in Harlem, where Baldwin's childhood took place, but it's based also on imagining the childhood of his niece and nephew from the Upper West Side,
Right.
and it's all imagined from Tuscany.
Right.
So so as a work of art, it's a really unusual and important sort of example of his life from Harlem,
Right.
Upper West Side.
Right.
He was a transatlantic commuter.
Right,
So it's
exactly.
biographically
Right.
incredibly significant. But today, today, in these bleak times, I think of it as a beacon of light. And I think, you know, just it's really going to be important to us to showcase it at places like the Smithsonian African American History and Culture Museum, at the Schomburg,
Right.
on your show, in schools, at museums and children's activities in Harlem.
Right.
So this is the part of the beginning of a conversation.
Right.
And I think Aisha called it a movement, but
Right, yeah.
but we
About
want, you know, this
black-
is just
yeah.
the beginning.
Right, right. Well, Little Man should be a movement.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, the book is coincided with the advent of the movement we now call hip hop.
Right.
And the language in the book is consistent with, you know, with what we hear now in the works of Nas, Jay-Z.
Right.
All of the top 10 have mentioned him recently.
In their hip hop,
their
in their
works.
lyrics.
Right.
And
So
use
I
his
never
quotes.
thought about James Baldwin as the inventor of hip hop.
Well,
but,
No.
he's a
But-
precursor.
right,
Absolutely.
It was a precursor.
right,
Yeah.
I know. I paid homage to St. Paul de Vence. I never got to really know your uncle, but I went.
But you do.
In
But
the
I-
book, in the book, one of the symbols in the book, it happens to be Mr. Mann's vinyl record player. And were it not for the movement, vinyl would have gone out a long time ago.
Right.
Now it's actually on a resurgence. So that symbol of the vinyl in the basement playing
Music.
is consistent until today.
Yeah.
Right.
And there are many more of this generation who can relate because they, you know, they would be like, vinyl, what's that? But they know what it is.
I know. My son is buying vinyl. You know?
Right. It's like we're going back.
I know,
we have
I
to
know.
go back in order to
Vinyl.
go forward. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
tell us a little bit about your lives, where you are now, and what what you're doing. Aisha, I know that you
Well,
have
I have
had a
traveled
talk
all
show,
over the-
and you're making speeches and delivering lectures.
Yes, I get
about the
get invited quite frequently to speak about my uncle's legacy because of the resurgence in the interest in his work at universities, at nonprofit organizations who are committed to equality, bringing equity into the communities that are considered unserved. His work is like, front and center. Because of the scope of what he wrote about, because of the largeness or the incredible canon that he produced, you can find any intersection to speak about through his writings, whether it's LGBTQ issues, whether it's issues of gender, whether it's issues of race, white supremacy, whiteness studies. So I get called all the time to speak
right?
about what it was like growing up and having access to these ideas at, 10.
I know, when nobody else
Early.
was thinking about
These things, exactly. But these conversations were taking place in my home, so I'm there in terms of being able to speak to these issues very, very easily because I was weaned on them, so to speak. So my life right now is largely continuing his legacy by speaking about his life and his commitment to children and to education and to literacy, encouraging people to read. He read every book in the County Cullen Library in Harlem, which is now the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture. That was his education. He said that you think your pain and your heartache are unprecedented in the world, and then you read. And so it was reading that taught him that he was connected to every other human being in the world. And so I'm a huge advocate of literacy for young people, and to use he is an example of what you can do and where you can go if you read.
Right. Tejan, you're living in Paris, an
I'm
expat
in
like
Paris
your
as
uncle?
well. Yeah,
What?
I don't think he ever considered himself really an expat, but he was a traveler. And even though, I'm learning now that Paris was the place that he's known for because of Paris and the allure of Paris, but he was all over.
Yes, he was.
In fact, our father and mother met in Africa, in West Africa, in Sierra Leone, and that's a whole nother tale and story.
Yeah, and your uncle was with them.
And
Yeah,
my
she was
father became
accompanying.
close.
Our mother was accompanying
And
him.
so coming up, in the 70s in school, we were that bridge, that really first generation of African Americans, got teased for our names, and that experience, shaped our lives as being bridges for, what really still is a misunderstanding between our people on the continent and black people in the diaspora. And our uncle and our father were models for us to travel the world, get out of your neighborhood, get out of, what's comfortable to you, and go among people who are strange to you.
Yeah, and you're pursuing a photography career in Paris?
Yes, I'm a photographer by passion, if not by profession, and definitely have traveled to Brazil, to throughout America, Europe,
Italy,
my wife Jessamina is from the southern region called Campania of Italy,
near
in a
Mount
small
Vesuvio.
town, in a small town called Bosco Trecase, which is right near. You can see the volcano Vesuvio from her balcony. I mean, it's that classic Italy, and they have a dialect there that's completely a language all unto itself. It's Neapolitan, and interestingly enough, like Aisha was saying, their grandfather made sure that they spoke classic Italian, but also Neapolitan,
Knew their
the language, the dialect, of that region. But yeah, I live in Paris, and I know Paris now better than I knew New York. They were laughing at me yesterday because they were like, TJ, you don't know where you at?
You feel comfortable that he too is in another country, following the steps of your uncle? Or?
Absolutely, because that's part of that's part of our background. Our father being from Sierra Leone, our father was a diamond consultant and traveled all over Europe and Africa. So we are used to hopping all over the world. And so the world is, because of our uncle, because of our father, we were never taught that one country was our home. The world is our home, and James Baldwin was a world citizen.
Yes, he was indeed. We always finish the program by asking, and you'll have to come back, too short, by asking what you feel the power, the strength of Black America from your own experiences. What do you think that is?
Well, for me, I mean, as I have talked about in some of my interviews, in our home, there was never an idea that being Black was less than. Black was the color, in the words of Nina Simone. Black was celebrated. Black was not marginalized. Black African literature, African American literature, art, Romeo Bearden, Buford Delaney. We had paintings from all the greats hanging in our home. We had all of the great writers, books.
Aren't you jealous?
It was a unique unique upbringing. So for us, Black America has always, and Black culture has always been primary, has always been great, has always been illuminating and valuable beyond measure to the experience in America. Blackness is America and is American for us.
TJ, a quick answer
Yes,
to that?
Black
or-
is universal.
Exactly.
And, by experience of travel, you learn that Black is not limited to Black America or even Black Africa.
And you've spent so much time researching and studying Black America. Your thoughts?
I think all Americans can learn from Black history just the importance of persistence and resistance. But in our moment, I have to say Maxine Waters, perhaps.
Auntie Maxine.
Auntie Maxine and Uncle Jimmy.
That's right.
Okay, so we will close it on that. Thank you all so
Thank you so
much
much
for
for
being
having
here
us.
today.
It's an honor.
My baby boy here. And we will see you the next time. Little Man is the book. Nicholas Boggs, Tejan Karefa-Smart, and Aisha Karefa-Smart. The book is simply wonderful, and thank you all for being with us. And thank you for joining us out there as well. I'm Carol Jenkins. The program is Black America. We'll see you the next time.